in wins. And in fact, she's 19 for 22 in the money here, earner of over $200,000, and this is one that can be close to the pace if need be, or stalk, draws the 4 hole. So going the 6.5 furlongs, I like the draw, and gets Alan Garcia in the irons. Number 7, British Invader from the barn of Troy Newton is my second choice. This one gets the services of Leandro Gonsalves, a 3-time winner from 14 starts, and she's a 4-year-old who is coming in off a bit of a layoff. Hasn't raced since November 3rd at Churchill, where it made all the pace, speed, and fade. But I like to turn back to the 6.5 furlong distance. I don't think the horse would be that forwardly placed, but is 4-1, and I think she does have a shot in here. She is 4-1, third choice on the morning line. For third, number 9, Page's Star. Now this one had an excuse last start, but did show a 5th place finish, beating 13 lengths, and showed some grit there where she was making her first start off the shelf. Hadn't raced since October 21st here, her first polytrack start. She did close in willingly despite the troubled trip and ran unwell into a pretty good field that day. She's a bit of a price, 10-1, but does come from a good barn and has a very good, capable jockey up top at 10-1 in Rodney Prescott. 4-7-9 in the pick 5 for me, starting in race 1. Now race number 2 is a open claimant event, a 8 down to 7 claimant event to go 6 furlongs. It starts the pick 4 here at Turfway. Just 14% takeout on the pick 4. They've been paying very well. Race 2, we should be able to narrow it down pretty well. There are 3 scratches in there, and the horse I thought was the horse in the race did scratch Proven Warrior. After that, it's kind of wide open in here now, but number 4, Tale of Fame. This one was a much better winner than it shows on paper last start. The horse was won by a length and a half, but it could have won by much more, I think, if need be. But this comes from a barn of Gennaro Garcia, who's doing very well at the meeting, and apprentice Joseph Ramos riding very well as well. I think he finished 3rd in the jockey standings back in the holiday meeting, and this one gets a 5-pound break in weight, gets in with 116 pounds, and should get a good pace scenario set up for this one's late running style. Number 4, Tale of Fame, is my top pick. Now, number 9, Manford from the barn of Chip Brownfield for Andy Kohler is 8-1 on the morning line. I expect these odds to come down a little bit. The 5-1 is out and the 9-2 shot's out, so we won't see anywhere like 4-1 on the favorite or 8-1 on this horse with those horses out. But Manford is one taking a drop in class. It's an Ohio bred, 7-time winner from 29 starts, entered in here for the 8,000. And if you go back to the last time the horse was entered on the synthetic, that was at Prescott in a 2 other than, and showed a very good showing, was 3rd beaten 5 lengths. So that was the only synthetic race on the horse's chart. Been training very well. If you look at the horse's most recent work, I like that. On December 7th, fired a bullet here, 5 furlongs, 101 breezing. That was a first of 32 that day. Chip generally doesn't work his horses very fast in the morning, but Manford is worth a look at 8-1. Now, number 2, TT, fresh off a win here back on December 28th here at Turfway with Corey Orm up top. This one is a 3-time Turfway winner from 9 starts, has 1 second-place finish and 2 third-place finishes, so 6 for 9 in the money. And at TT, the only knock I have is the horse draws the 2-hole, but I do like the horse's chances in here. I do think there's a little bit of speed. Now, a couple of speed horses scratch Proven Warrior and Do Not Enter, but I still think there will be some lick in the race anyway, so that's why I went with 4-9-2, my top 3 in race 2. That does start the pick 4. Now the third race, it starts the 20-cent single 6 jackpot, as went unsolved for the past few days here at the track, and the carryover $23,688. 20-cent base bet starts in race 3 and the final 6 races on the program. And I think you can go really short in the pick 6, starting in the third race. The non-3, 15-10, going 6.5. I think my top 2 choices are probably all we'll use in that betting sequence. Number 4, Mason AP, and the 6 in here, which is number 6, Ladies Weekend is his name. But I think the 6 is my top pick in here at 6-1. It comes from a good barn. The horse closed from off the pace last start at Churchill to win that non-2 condition. Prior to that was probably the best horse that day and got DQ'd from second. But this one is a very consistent horse. Comes from Larry Demerit. Julie Burke has the return call. She knows this horse. The horse has yet to race on the synthetic, but I do like the horse's chances in here, showing a good work here at the training center back in October. But this one, I think, will lay just off the pace. Shouldn't be too far off of it. Maybe a length and a half for the back. And then for second, I went for number 4. Now, Mason AP hasn't raced since November at Churchill Downs, but the horse has a win here over the track. Comes from a barn that will get one ready off the shelf, and I think we'll get some pace to run at. So should be following my top pick around the track, and I put the horse for second. Then for third, I went for a bit of a price horse in here. I think 5-1 at Yondering. Now this one hasn't raced since February 1st. I don't think this horse will take a lot of money being off 11 months, but did win its last race, has never raced on the synthetic. Comes from a good barn, from the barn of Ian Wilkes. Albin Jimenez has the call. This one will be, I think, pretty far back, and I think we'll run on well and finish in the money, but I think this horse will probably end up on the bottom of your exotics. Number 10, Yondering, my third choice. In the fourth race, it's a non-2 filly and mare claimant event to go a mile. And in race 4, there are no program changes. I ended up going for number 5, Thirsty Cowgirl, as my top pick. This one comes in from the Chicagoland area, where it has raced 9 times on the synthetic, yet to win, but does have 4 second-place finishes and 2 third-place finishes. Edgar Perez comes with this horse to ride. He's rode this horse in each of her last 2 races, where she was third, beaten 12 lengths last start time before third, beaten 3 lengths. And I definitely think this race will set up for this one. There's tons of speed in here, and I think Thirsty Cowgirl, even though she's stretching out to the mile, she'll be a little closer to the pace, but I think she'll only be probably maybe 3-4 lengths off the pace. She's drawn in the middle, so I look for her to be able to save some ground onto the run to the first turn. Now for second, number 9, Cooler Schedule, another one coming in here that is well mounted tonight for Alex Ashard. This one will be up and after the lead, I believe, and is 5-1 on the morning line. For third, number 6, Detour. Fresh off a dominant win last start, but that was against Maiden 75. Steps up against winners for the first time here and stretches out to the mile distance. I'm not worried about the stretch out to the mile, but I do think the horse will have some company up top, and I look for those pace setters to fade, and I think Thirsty Cowgirl will run them down late. And I'm going 5 at 9-6, top pick 5-1, Thirsty Cowgirl in race number 4. Now the 5th race every night at Turfway starts the late pick 4, 50-cent pick 4 on the final 4 races on the card. In the 5th race, there are a couple of scratches. Take out the 3, 13, and 14. This is a loaded maiden filly 3-year-old special weight for a purse of $46,000 to go a mile. When I say loaded, I mean full of talent. Very well-bred horses in here. A lot of them coming from very, very good barns, top barns here in the state of Kentucky. And I end up going with number 9, Blackberry Lisa on top. She's 8-1, but I love this filly tonight. I like her stretching out to the mile distance. Her breeding seems to suggest that as well. On debut at Keeneland, going 7 furlongs in the slot, the horse was up and after the pace the entire way. Faded back to second. Miss Firecracker went on to win that day, but came back here at Turfway and took money on first asking and took money again, obviously, off that bit of a layoff. But she turned back to 6 furlongs and kind of ran even with 6 beaten 7 lengths. But I think the stretch out is the key here for Blackberry Lisa, 8-1. Malcolm Franklin, good, strong, capable rider, has the call. For second, number 8, Purple Martin. This daughter of Gray Swallow ran here at Turfway on December 13th, going to 6 furlong distance. Another one stretches out to the mile, and this horse might have been the best horse that day. She did run third, beaten 4 lengths. A couple of the horses in this race are coming out of the same race, but she was way far back after stumbling at the start. She raced out wide the entire journey, and I think going the mile distance will help this filly's late running style. If she has a clean break, I think she has a big chance tonight, 7-2 with Johnny McKee. For third, number 2, Kitten Empress, a daughter of Kitten's Joy. When Kitten's Joy's offspring, they always seem to run very well over this polytrack here. This one comes from the barn of Nacho Correas, and Albin Jimenez has the call. On debut at at Churchill, didn't take much money that day, going off 38-1, but was entered in a race on the turf. The race came off the turf. They decided to run anyway, kind of split the field, run 6th, and I look for a better effort from this filly too. I think this one, making the first synthetic start, will improve, and it has been working very well. There's a work back in Keeneland on December 4th. Was a bullet that day, 48-3, came back with a 5/8 drill, another half-mile maintenance drill, and then most recently at Keeneland. And what I like, the last 3 works have all been over the artificial surface. So he has been pointing to this race for quite a while. There's been several races so far at the meet that this horse was eligible for. She could have been in. He kept working her, and seems to me like he was pointing for this spot, 5-1. She's my third choice in race number 5. That does start the late pick 4. Now the sixth race is a maiden 3-year-old $30,000 claimant event. There are several scratches in the sixth. The 4, 7, and 8 are all out. Now number 3, Mr. Everything in here, 6-5 on the morning line. He's a son of Mr. Speaker coming from the barn of Wesley Ward. Now, Wesley Ward owns this horse and has entered him for $30,000 off a 8th place finish at Saratoga. Now, hasn't raced since July, but he's only beaten 5 lengths that day. Went off 12-1 with Johnny V and showed speed and faded. That was going a mile and 16th. The time before on debut at Gulfstream, 7.5 on the turf. Was 5th, beaten 6 lengths. Went off 7-1. That was a pretty decent race that day. This horse has ran some decent numbers, and whether you use Briz or you use Thoroughgrass, whatever you use, this horse's numbers of the ones that have started in this race, they do stand out. So I see the 6-5 on the morning line, Mr. Everything, my top pick in the race. Now, I won't single in this race. I am going to use a couple other horses in the race. One of those, number 5, at Game, Set, Match. Phil Sims has a couple in tonight. I think he's very well entered. And Game, Set, Match is a 3-year-old son of Algorithms. Johnny McKee up top. This one was 4th, beaten 7 lengths at Churchill, going a mile and 16th distance that day, but was a little bit wide and I think made the move too late. And did show some run late, and this horse will come closing. It just needs a really hot tempo, and in this race, when I look at the field, I don't see he's going to get that, so I think he's going to run out of real estate. He's going to be second best to Mr. Everything, but is 6-1 on the morning line. Now, number 9, Alfred, 9-2 on the morning line. Gets a jockey change here tonight to Alvin Jimenez. This one was second, beaten a half length last start here, and kind of ran on between horses late and looked like a winner and just kind of hung the last part, but trip over the local surface and has, like I said, Alvin Jimenez up for Ben Colebrook, 9-2. Drawn to the outside, but, I don't think the horse will get parked out too far as there are 3 scratches in the race. It's just a 6-horse field now. So, Alfred, the outside post doesn't really hurt my opinion there going this mile distance tonight. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first 6 races. We're going to take a little break here. We'll come back for the changes and then the final 2 races here on tonight's Thursday card. But first, at this time, I ask that you please rise, kindly remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Turfway Park. 28 minutes to post for this 8-race card. The poly track is fast. If you'll take out your racing programs, we'll go over tonight's late program changes. First race, start of the pick 5, and no changes. Race 1, start of that 15% takeout pick 5 is clear. Race 2, start of the early pick 4, with just 14% takeout. There are 3 scratches. Scratch number 5, Friday Night Star. Scratch number 6, Proven Warrior. And scratch number 8, Do Not Enter. Race 2, take out 5, 6, and 8. Third race starts the single six jackpot. In the single six, there's a carryover of $23,688 in that wager going in. There is a scratch of number 9, Tobacco Road. Number 9, Tobacco Road scratch from the third. No changes in race 4. If you'll turn to race number 5. Race 5 starts the 50-cent late pick 4. 3 changes. Scratch number 3, Neva. And simply scratch both also eligibles, number 13, Panterita, and the 14, Elsie's First. Race 5, numbers 3, 13, and 14 are all scratched. Sixth race, there are 3 scratches there as well. Scratch number 4, Austrian. Scratch number 7, Zarme. And scratch number 8, Itasca. Sixth race numbers 4, 7, 8 are all scratched. Seventh race starts the final roll in Daily Double. Scratch number 1, Sundress. Number 1, Sundress has been scratched. Overweight on number 9, Momenta Cat. That jockey is 3 pounds over. Eighth and final race from Turfway with that high 5 wager is clear. No changes in race 8. Those are the changes at this time. Any changes coming in throughout the balance of the program, I'll get those to you as they do so. First race in 26 minutes. Good luck. Welcome back to the pre-race show, race fans. Currently 25 minutes to race number 1, kicking things off here. Prior to the break, we got through the first 6 races on the card. We'll take a closer look into the final 2 races on the card here with this late Daily Double. Now, the 7th race is a filly and mare, a other than optional claimer to go a distance of ground of 1 mile and 16th, and the 1 Sundress has been scratched in race 7. Now, number 3, Arch of Troy, is 5-2 on the morning line for Michael Dubb, the owner, and Michael Maker, the trainer, and Gerardo Corrales, new to the jockey colony, but winning at a very high percentage here, has the call. This one is my top pick, has yet to race on the synthetic, but is a 5-time winner from 14 starts on the turf, and this one exits a 6th place finish, beating 8 lengths as the odds-on favorite up in Aqueduct. Prior to that, a respectable 6th place finish in a 2 other than, and win a starter 40 the time before that up in Saratoga. Now, this one anywhere close to her best. I think she fits in here. And she is a 3-time winner last year from 8 starts. She's lightly raced, but she always shows up. And I'm going to use her on top in race number 7 is number 3. Now for second, number 4, Harmony Victory. Paulo Lobo sends this one out. This one has been second in each of her last 2 races in first-level allowance races here in the state of Kentucky. 2 back at Keeneland. She was the favorite, in fact, made all the pace and got ran down late by Xena Rules, and came back in their next race in a similar race, a 1 other than allowance at Churchill, going the mile and 16th distance. Now this time she changed her tactics. She tried to come from off the pace, and she kind of made a little early move, and then her run kind of flattened out, and she didn't sustain it and go on. She was second, beat 3rd lengths. That was a really good field. Now, she is a 2-time winner from 13 starts, and once again racing for Bone Chance Farm. 2-1 morning line favorite. Now for third, number 7, Straight Outta Popcorn. This one has never been worse than second here in any of her 4 tries at Turfway. 4 starts, 2 wins, 2 second-place finishes. Most recently, against similar, was second, beating a link to Rogue 2, who's now on, I think, a 4 or 5 race winning streak for Doug Danner, and has been facing some serious company as well. Again, was beaten just 12 lengths, 3 back, in a graded stake up at Woodbine. Straight Outta Popcorn, a must-use at 7-2. My third choice, 3-4-7 in race 7. Eighth and final offers high 5 wagering, no carryover. That was hit on Saturday, but it's a maiden filly and mare 15 claimer to go 1 mile. No changes in the 8th and final. Now my top pick, even though it's going a mile, I'm going all the way to the outside with number 11 Maybell. Ray Hernandez is on fire at the current meeting, and Abel Lascano has a call. This one was 4th, beaten 3 3/4 lengths at Gulfstream. Now that was on March 8th, so the horse hasn't raced in about 10 months, and off the shelf, he's going to take an edge here, Ray Hernandez. He's going to jam her in for the $15,000 level. Been training very well at the training center. The last work I liked, that was a gate work. 101-4 back on December 27th. This one I think will show a little more speed than usual, being fresh. But on the class drop, daughter Tapazar, I think she gets paid tonight 8-1 on the morning line. Number 3, Abby's Destiny was second last start and way out of it. She never gets that far out of it, but if you look at the trouble line, courtesy of Echo Base, they've been spot on all meeting. Just follow their trouble trips. Now this one was slow into stride and wide, and she was just that. But she ran on and was second to Vegan Goes Best that day. And I think with a better break, obviously she stretching out to the route distance is going to show more speed anyway. So I look for this one to be on or near the lead. Number 3, Abby's Destiny with Julie Burke from that 3-hole. Now number 9, Wolf County Miss is another one taking a huge class drop. In fact, as she's going all the way down to the 15 level, I could see going against her. Now she's raced 3 times, and out of her 3 starts, she's only ever beat 1 horse. And she's very well bred, though. Daughter of English Channel, making her second start over the poly track, and I expect her to show speed, drop to the 15 level. I think it's more suitable. Those last couple of races she's came out of are very, very tough, including the last race here where she's hot toddy, won at Miss Mosaic. She's back in coming up here this weekend. So is Loon Roots, the 2nd and 3rd place finishers of that race. We'll see them here on Saturday, I believe. But number 9, Wolf County Miss, comes from a good barn, good connection. She's very well bred, gets the class drop 8-1. I'm going to go 11-3-9 in the 8th and final. Well, currently 20 minutes to post, race fans, for this Thursday race card here from Florence, Kentucky. Don't forget the single 6 starts in race number 3. That's a 20-cent jackpot wager, and there's a carryover of $23,688. Good luck tonight.